Yes, it's Gold Cup Day and welcome along to the Racing Post Good Morning Cheltenham. With thanks to our sponsors, Paddy Power. We have made it to Friday. What a week it's been, and I'm joined by my regular partners in crime, Paul Kealy, Kate Tracey and Jerry McGrath. What a day it was yesterday. I think it was an emotional roller coaster for everybody. Gallop in the Shams. Allaho, amazing. And of course, Flooring Porter, spectacular in the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle. Keels, what a day. It was gut-wrenching for you. My heart went out to you with Alaphilippe in the Pertemps final. We watched the race together. We went through every emotion together. I think I had you in my arms at one stage. And then you were crying on my shoulder.
I was shaking. Well, it wasn't quite flying, but it was a deflating moment for me. I mean, it's one of those, what do I have to do to get a winner? 3 seconds yesterday, and even a horse I tipped to be second to Allaho finished third to Allaho. So it was, that counts as another second, doesn't it? But, it was a cracking day's racing, wasn't it? It was really enjoyable.
Epic.
But
I said to you, so Keels has been tipping Alaphilippe at every single preview night. He tipped him up on this show. It was his nap of the day. And I said to him for the race, Keels, are you nervous? No, not nervous at all. Went out to watch the race beside him. He was shaking like a leaf. So he was. Hard luck, but you got your each-way money back.
Yeah, I got the each-way money back. Yeah, so it's not the worst result in the world, but I'd like to get one over the line because I still haven't had one yet. I've had so many places.
Yeah, well, today could be Paul Kealy's day, and not only is this woman a very, very astute judge and bringing plenty of comedy here every morning, but you were famous yesterday. Oh. You led up Allaho.
5 minutes of fame there, yes. Was roped in as he was just proving a bit of a handful, really, for poor Ruth.
We have proof. Look on screen. There she is, Miss Kate Tracey.
Yeah, that's it. Sort of, glory hogger there, really. It was, he was absolutely carting his way around the paddock, and Ruth just shouted over to me and said, please, can you just come and grab one side of him, because he was just being a bit of a nightmare, really, just a bull in a china shop. So went over there, grabbed a rein and tried to steady the big ship. That was Allaho, and yeah, thankfully it all came off and everything was pretty seamless.
You obviously have magic hands because he was unbelievable.
Oh, the touch is there. No, not at all. I've got blisters to show from it and everything from being carted down the walkway, but yeah, thank goodness it all came off well.
It was well worth it. He was phenomenal, wasn't he?
He was. He's just a beast of an animal. I mean, even leading him, I've never led anything so strong in all of my life. He is just a monster. And then to go out there and to do that, to jump as well as he did, there's nothing that can touch him. Poor Eldorado Allen, he tried to stick it up to him early on then, and he ran a blinder, all things considered. But I just hoped that nothing was going to go with him, because it would have blunted their own chances. But he is just a monster.
He is a monster. And Jerry, we were well, I won't say a whisker. We were a big whisker away from winning a fortune yesterday. Mr. Coffey, he dragged us in and he spat us out, as Mr. Coffey does. But it was a great shout from you. He ran a cracker.
Yeah, he did, to be fair. And I suppose even more so the way he travelled through the race. You were nearly not counting your money turning for home, but you definitely thought he was going to win. Yeah.
I was.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I said, it was the first time up to that trip, and it's not that he didn't stay, but I think he's just been outstayed maybe by a proper hardened Venetia Williams horse on the day.
Yeah, and the step up and trip certainly did suit. He loved it most of the way, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely, and he got hampered badly early as well, but it probably wasn't a bad thing because he just slotted in nicely and they took their time, and yeah, it looked like the writing was on the wall that he was going to go and win a big one on the big stage, but unfortunately for us and for the kitty, it didn't work out.
Mr. Coffey, he's great out crack, so he is. Of course, the big talking point, and I want an apology from each and every one of you guys, right? I told you yesterday that Bob Bollinger would win the Turner's Novice Chase, and yous all went against me, and who was right? Of course, I was spectacularally wrong. I can only apologise. I felt guilty collecting. I didn't deserve it. That was heartbreaking.
He was sensational, and then he jumped the fence fine, and it's just one of those strange falls at Cheltenham where they just lose their legs, and he was brilliant all the way around, wasn't he? I think this, you said there's talk of dropping back in trip. I mean, he will never stay a Gold Cup trip driving that extravagantly. I don't think. He was amazing. Got Bob Bollinger at it a long way out. Which surprised a hell of a lot of people.
I think the quote that summed it all up was Henry de Bromhead. He said, I never thought I would ever see a day when Bob Bollinger would be off the bridle so early that any horse could do that to him. It was astonishing, Jerry, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I was up in the stands yesterday now with a bunch of owners looking down, and everyone was celebrating as the horse landed, went astride, and then everyone, you could just see the hands going to their head. Nobody could believe what had happened when he tipped up. But actually, it was very disappointing for Connections and Paul Townend. You could see he was not happy. He just walked away. And obviously, initially we thought he was injured, but it was thankfully just the reins got caught around his leg, and he's fine. It's brilliant.
You were a successful jockey, okay? You know what's going through a jockey's head. A lot of people afterwards said, Paul, why didn't you just go in and pop it? But I was tearing my hair out listening to that because I thought he did everything perfect.
Oh, yeah. And anyone who says that has obviously probably never ridden a horse, never knows what it's like. If he dropped the revs on a forward-going horse, you saw what he did down the back. He came out of Paul's hands, and thankfully he landed as far the other side. But up the hill, if he was tiring, he could have done something stupid.
The thing about that is you're just not, as a jockey, I'm sure you're in a no-win situation, right? Because if you ask for a big one and you come down, you get grief. And if you let him pop it and he come down, you get grief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it goes wrong, it's always your fault, which is obviously not. It's like, but that's how it is with punters. But I mean, I didn't see a lot of people screaming about it. I didn't think everybody understood that it was
It's one of those freaky
one of
things.
those things. Like, but when you think about, all the winners Willie Mullins has had, he's had Annie Power, Benny DeJure, and now
Velas.
The last.
absolute nailed on. All you got to do is get over the last.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
it is incredible that the three most high-profile final fence or hurdle falls have all been trained by Willie Mullins,
Yeah.
probably in the history of the Cheltenham Festival. And I spoke to him afterwards, and it's one of them things when you're a journalist, you're like, oh, this isn't nice, you feel for them, but he's just so used to it, he was able to give the perfect response. The horse is sound, the jockey is sound.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next
But
race.
you know what he said afterwards? He said, well, I won a Triumph Hurdle a couple of years ago in these colours on the back of Goshen then falling.
That's right.
So he said, it does come around again in itself. And it's just one of those things. It's a racing game. But like you say, it's just unfortunate that Willie Mullins always seems to be sort of at the crux of these kind of falls.
Yeah, maybe
I
he's
suppose that he's going to have so many winners and he has so many good horses that he's the one most likely to have.
Yeah,
in that
like
position.
yeah, law of
I was
averages.
just
Yeah.
about to say.
But I tell you what, the gasps when he first stood up and it looked like he'd done a leg, but it actually caught. It was only a rein caught in it. You think, oh no, it was so good to see him.
That's
walking
one
off
thing I
after.
love about the game, because obviously a lot of punters would have lost money in galloping the shows, and a lot of punters that cheered would have been the ones that lost money. So it was fantastic. That's what's really good about the game. One of the best performances yesterday, Keels, came in the Paddy Power Stayers hurdle. Flooring Porter, back-to-back winner. What a ride from Danny Mullins.
Yeah, fantastic. It was a good ride. I don't want to criticise anybody else, but I mean.
But you're going
easy lead. Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah. Let's be true. Yeah, easy leads are given as much as they are taken, and he got put under no pressure whatsoever. And when you consider what he done last year, we know how much he found after the last year. I was saying he's already won after 3 hurdles, because nobody was looking to take him on. And you could see how much he was holding, and when he turned into the straight, you knew he was going to just carry on and go away again. But yeah, it was a cracker. You still got to get the fractions right, because you can't go too fast. But he could just go whatever speed he wanted, and a nice big red hood in the parade ring as well, wasn't it? To keep a lid on him, worked perfectly.
Do you think maybe that the other riders in the race thought Classical Dream would be the one, like in Leopardstown, that they said, okay, well, there's 2 here that are going to go forward, so we're not going to, and they were.
Yeah, well, it's
before.
funny because I mentioned when I did when we did the preview for the book that came out, I said, he was held up when he went over 3 mile last year. There's no reason, there's no need for him to go like that. I thought that's what they might do.
Yeah.
But obviously, had they taken each other on, they'd probably cut each other's throat. But as they didn't, they just left him to have plenty in the tank at the end.
Absolutely. Champ travelled very well, Jerry, just didn't really see it out.
Yeah, definitely, and no excuses. I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself after napping him yesterday. He was there, he was on the premises, he jumped, he travelled, he wasn't good enough on the day. He has soft ground form, you can't blame that. So yeah, no, the winner was impressive, and fair play, because Kevin Cromwell, he's first half of the season, the horses weren't flying, but they've really turned the corner and they're absolutely going all cylinders now.
Where are we with Champ at the moment? Where will he arrive at next year's festival? What's he going to run in? Is he going to be running a Gold Cup, a Kim Muir, a Coral Cup, a cross country chase?
Well, yeah.
He could run in anything, couldn't he?
Yes, but you remember too, he was a 10-year-old. He's not getting any younger. People forget how old he is. Hopefully he'll be there next year again. But I thought this, being 10, this was his year. But unfortunately we were wrong. But hopefully he'll be back next year for something.
Yeah, no, he certainly has a lot of talent. And I must say, Jerry McGrath was here yesterday and he was humming and hawing about the plate. You were trying to decide what to tip, and you were that close. This is not after time, but I promise you were that close to tipping Cool Cody.
Yeah, his Cheltenham form is incredible. And Evan Williams, he's a genius at these handicaps, and grade ones as well, but yeah, especially handicaps. And I thought, to be fair to Adam Wedge, he gave him a brilliant ride. You know, he went out, he wanted to make the running, that's his style of running, but he made his mind up for him. And he got headed, that's what I loved about him. He wasn't in front the whole way. He got headed turning for home, but he battled back and yeah, he outstayed the rest of them.
So are we finished with Mr. Coffee now? Is that it? As last chance to lose gone?
I'm one of those people. I find it very, very hard to let go. Oh, you know what I mean? That's one of my that's one of my several problems when it comes to betting on horses. But yeah, I find it very hard to let go, and I almost like him even more now. You know what I mean? It's just
toxic trait.
And you're back home today, but Keels, right?
I'm rushing home. Yeah.
Yeah, Keels is an old sweetheart, so he is, because we were getting ready for the show. And I think it was you, Kate, said, "Oh, are you looking forward to going home and seeing your wife?" And you said, "What? You're going down to the pub to watch the racing?"
Well, this is it. This is it. Like, I haven't seen her for 5 days, and as soon as I get home, I'm going to say, "Can you give me a lift to the pub?"
But to sweeten her up, what have you done this week?
The
Go on,
best
spit it
laid
out.
plans.
Spit it
The
out.
flowers were sent in advance, so I'm going to be in the good books when I get there, so I get away with it.
Paul Kealy sent flowers to his wife Kirsty during Cheltenham.
Yeah, you've got to lay the groundwork, haven't you?
And you still haven't got good karma. The winners today is your day. Let's see if it is Paul Kealy's day today, because we're going to kick off with our day 4 preview. It is Gold Cup day. It's the biggest day of the year in jump racing circles, and we're going to kick off with our JCB Triumph Hurdle preview. And at the moment, with Paddy Power, Vauban is your 7-4 favourite. It is 5-2 Pied Piper, and it is 11-2 Bar. Right, Paul Kealy, Irish domination here in the market. Vauban has been favoured ever since he won the Spring Juvenile Hurdle. Is he the right favourite?
Yeah, I definitely think he is the right favourite. He was very impressive, wasn't he, when he won at Leopardstown? And I'm thinking, how can Fedor overturn it? I do think that the rain we had on Wednesday has opened the door for a few others, because it'll make it a proper test. There's plenty of stamina in Vauban's pedigree from Masked Marvel and the like. So, there's no reason why he won't stay. We know Fedor definitely will. I mean, obviously Davy Russell thinks Pied Piper won't, because he jumped off.
Yeah, when it was absolutely lashing.
Yeah, when it was absolutely lashing. I mean, it was about 2 minutes to go before he couldn't, wasn't it? Like, so he made that decision. Now it will dry out a bit, but it might be sticky rather than good or soft. We don't know. They have a bit of fresh ground, don't they? I think we're on the chase course anyway. I think, but. I think he has opened the door a little bit, and I just thought to myself, well, I backed on Wednesday. I backed Porticello at 20s, because he's won two races on really soft ground by a wide margin doing handsprings, and he's going to stay a lot further in time than 2 mile 1 furlong. And obviously Gary Moore thinks he's a future horse as well, and not just a Triumph type horse. So I've been against the English, the British all the way through, but with the ground, I just thought he was the interesting one each way against the Irish.
Okay, very interesting. Now, Matt Chapman has been hitting the crossbar all week with his tips. In fairness, he's been a bit unlucky. Time Hill was second. Of course, he had Gaelic Warrior earlier on in the week. He was second. And his nap on Friday runs in the Triumph Hurdle.
Hi everyone, Matt Chapman for Paddy Pad, day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival 2022. And our last chance to bang in a nap selection. Well, everyone knows that Vauban is going to be really hard to beat in the Triumph Hurdle, but I will be going with Fedor as an each-way selection. He's stamina-laden, strong gallop, testing gluey ground. I'm hoping Fedor will at the very least get in the first 3 and might just topple Vauban. Good luck.
So, Keels, after your almost moment of fame in the Pertemps final, Alaphilippe, you were crying into your laptop beside me in the press room. Who came over to you?
Well, there couldn't be a worse person in the world to come and gloat at you than Matt Chapman, telling me that he'd back.
It was like this, right in front of
third
Keels.
wind at 40s, 30s, 28s, etc. And it's a good job I'm not a violent man.
No, I thought you played it very cool. And then when he left, you invented curses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Matt Chapman fancies Fedor, Jerry. Davy Russell has stayed loyal to him. Has he got it wrong, though, with the ground drying?
Yeah, I think back to what Kealy said there, I do think the ground is going to play a big part today. Like, people just think, oh, it was a dry day yesterday, dry day today, it's going to be nice, good ground. It's not. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be tacky.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely. Even though there's definitely fresh ground on the chase course, there will be probably two flights of hurdles, panels on the hurdle course. But I think it'll be hard work today. And with that, I've kind of gone for Pied Piper. I just love the fact that Gordon, I think he'd have planned the fact that he ran around the course. He's proven he copes with it well, and I just think he's a very talented horse. He was very good in the flat, and I just think he's equally as good over jumps. And just at a price, I just think Dan Skelton, they've had no luck so far this week, but I do think Dr. Parnassus has a good each-way chance today. He's done nothing wrong, and I just think at a price, he's a good each-way shape.
Price-wise in the Racing Post, Tom Siegel is a big fan of Dr. Parnassus. Kate, what do you fancy in Triumph Hurdle?
I'm actually agreeing with Matt Chapman. Phil Dorr here as well. I'm hoping that Davey's made the right decision to side with him. This horse I have just loved throughout this entire season. I think it was at Fairyhouse about 4 out on the second hurdle start, and he got there, and Davey sort of saw a stride for him. And the horse he put down. He was so clever though. And he was so early on in his hurdling career. And he lost no momentum over it. And straight away from that instance, I thought, I like you. I really like this horse. So I can see why Davey likes him as well, therefore. And I just think the extra stamina test on the new course, if it is that much of a glue pop, surely that's going to play to his advantage as well. And you've got Vauban at the head of the market there. It's this sort of sexy, unexposed horse, flashy sort of type. But he's actually got more racecourse experience than Fildor. He's had the 6 starts to his name. Fildor only has the 5, but he's got the extra hurdling experience. So I think there's more improvement to come from Fildor, on that basis. But he also has the battle-hardened experience, therefore, of his hurdling experience. So I just think he's a very fair price now with stamina to the fore.
Very interesting. Fildor for Kate Tracey. And the horse that none of you have mentioned is Vauban. I think this horse will go off very close to evens.
I don't think it's a day when a horse will get.
This will get hammered,
smashed up. I doubt it myself.
What price do you think
I want him to win because obviously I tipped him early in the season, but I wouldn't be backing him at 7-4, and I don't see him going off any shorter really.
You don't see him going off the shorter than 7-4. I do. I think what he did in the Spring Juvenile Hurdle at Leopardstown, he tugged Townend's arms out the whole way, and I said he's going to stop after the last. He's going to stop, and then he took off again. I think this horse is an amazing engine, and it's interesting what Willie Mullins says about him. He never saw him as a Triumph Hurdle horse. In his head, he was his supreme horse for next year. So I think there is more improvement to come from Vauban, and I think he's going to get favourite backers off to a flyer. Moving on to the 210, it is the County Hurdle, one of the hottest handicaps of the entire week. But we've got an 11-4 favourite in State Man, the big buzz horse of the week, and one man who knows him better than anybody is Ruby Walsh.
Ruby Walsh, State Man, inexperienced but potentially well handicapped.
I think he is. I'm siding with him. Gaelic Warrior went down by a short head. Yeah, inexperienced did cost him. There's only a short head in it. A straighter jump at the last would have done. When I'm sticking with State Man, he'll do me.
Is he graded horse in the making?
Yeah.
Again, I like the definition there. Yeah, the definite article of Ruby Walsh. It's not that he wants to go somewhere. He's just giving us the right answers. Okay, your day 4 naps. Ruby.
State Man.
I tell you, the lack of elaboration is fascinating on Ruby's thoughts on State Man.
It's the lack of doubt. It's just, this is going to win.
I am making a statement about State Man.
Wow, that's that then. Statement wins the County Hurdle. Moving on to the Albert Bartlett, the third race on the card. Keels, that's Ruby at his most bullish. I don't think I've ever seen him like that.
It is, and I don't care. I'm taking him on. There was actually no horse I'd rather lay more than that one today for all the places as well. I just don't get it. One run in France, comes over with Willie Mullins. Runs at Leopardstown, edges to his right at nearly every hurdle and falls 2 out. And goes to Limerick and he wins the odds of 1-7 in a Mickey Mouse race. And he's asked to really lengthen to jump the last. He goes to his right again. And now he's going to Cheltenham off a mark of 140, which is nowhere near what he ran to in my eyes at Limerick. And in a 20-odd runner race, and he's 11-4. No thanks.
I kind of agree with you. I think it's his jumping is what worries me. Really worries me. So what
I think he can jump through enough, but when you start edging to your right, you're under pressure, etc. You risk bumping into other horses. I mean, if Ruby says he's a Grade 1 horse, he's a Grade 1 horse, but I'll let him prove it at that price.
So what do you like?
Well, obviously, I love the form of the Great Wood Hurdle, which was won by West Cork. If the rain hadn't come, Campond would have won the Gold Cup by half the track, and he was fourth in it. 7th was Marie's Rock, obviously he's won the mares. And obviously you had horses like Glory and Fortune in there as well. He won a Betfair Hurdle. So it's just red hot form. He had an overreach at Ascot next time, and so that's why he didn't run so well there. And he's been primed for this race ever since. He's still on a good mark. I've also backed First Street, was the other one. He was third in the Betfair Hurdle. He made an absolute mess of the last 2 flights of hurdles. Probably in his favour that there's only 2 in the last mile or so here. So those would be my 2.
Did you give us the name of the first one?
West Cork.
Oh, you did.
Didn't
West Cork.
Did I?
Sorry.
I might not have done.
I don't know. I was waiting. I was hanging on your every word, and then it never arrived. West Cork for Keels, and your second selection was?
Second selection was First Street.
First Street and West Cork. Kate, County Hurdle, what do you like?
Yeah, the big drifter throughout the week, Top Bandit. I can't really understand. He was 6-1 earlier on in the week, and now he's 16. So a little bit of caution, a bit lukewarm on that basis. Yeah, he's a huge price there now.
God.
So, yeah, if my eyesight is not tricking me. No, exactly. But I just think he's been plotted out for this. He was improving before his break. He's had a lengthy break then for the county, a positive. Won his last race, another positive for the county. Still think that's a very fair mark off of 139 as well. So I just think he has everything in his favour. And as I say, I just think he's been laid out for this. Conditions won't hinder him. So he ticks all of the trend boxes for me. So that's why I'm slightly cautious about that drift on him, but I'll still side with him.
God, I got a bit of a shock there. He's been favourite for the last couple of months, and now he's 16-1 Top Bandit. Jerry, this is wide open. Now you almost found a big handicap winner for us yesterday, Mr. Coffee. Are you going to go one better here?
Yeah, but I'm going to stay loyal to Seven Barrows anyway. I'm going to side with First Street.
Mick Fitzgerald fancied this earlier on the week as well.
Yeah, he's one of those. He probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Like, he's a very consistent, solid horse. Obviously, he's probably a 2.5 mile horse, but back to a fast run 2 miles would probably really suit him. And like, although he never ran in the flat, he was bred to be a flat horse. He's got that flat speed. And I agree, the new course will really suit him today because, not that he's a bad jumper, but like you said, just the fact that there's only 2 hurdles in the last 4 or 5 furlongs, whatever it is, I think that'll really suit him. And I just think, brilliant run the last at Newbury in a very competitive handicap, and yeah, I think, like you said, he's actually still only a novice as well, but he's very progressive. He's the hood stays on again today, and I just think 141, he's probably not well handicapped, but he could still be improving, and I think he's a very good bet today.
Interesting. Jerry McGrath and Mick Fitzgerald both have the finger on the pulse at Seven Barrows, and both fancy First Street. Speaking of the Greatwood, Keels, the horse that I'm going to put up is a horse that started favourite for the Greatwood, Jesse Evans. Didn't really, no excuses now, but just didn't really finish out his race. He's been kept fresh for this since. He's been dropped a pound. I still think he's a well-handicapped hurdler. It's interesting that Sean Flanagan rides him instead of Caskmate. He was 11-2 favourite for the Greatwood. He was 25-1 yesterday with Paddy Power for this. He's now into 18-1. I did tip him to a few friends. Has he got any chance?
Obviously, if there was a reason for him not running great there, then he could have, couldn't he? Because he's obviously been prepared for this ever since. So to come and have another go. But I mean, that run does put you off a little bit.
Ran okay though. Wasn't beaten, like he finished 9th, but he wasn't actually beaten that far. He ran okay. I'd be willing.
I mean, the amount of horses that have won from that race, and they include horses that finished behind him. And one of them was Cormier, who's already won. He's won a 100-gram race. So it is a really deep race.
It is a really deep race. And you see the selections on the screen there. I'm a Jesse Evans fan. It is West Cork for Keels. It is Top Bandit for Kate. And it's First Street for Jerry. That was your County Hurdle preview. Moving on to the 250. It is the Albert Bartlett, which is, of course, without Manila Crooner, unfortunately, who, of course, would have won. But it's still a red-hot affair. And Ginto is currently your 11-4 joint favourites. Now we have Ginto and Hillcrest. This is the big clash between Britain and Ireland. Ginto, Hillcrest, 11-10. You have a chance, Keels. You have a chance. You've got Protector out as well, and you've got a few later on in the card. Could the unthinkable happen? And is there a Prestbury Cup anymore? But if there was, is it staying at home?
I mean, if it hadn't been 23-5 last year, nobody would really care, would they? I mean, I genuinely don't care. I love having a bit of fun, but when it comes to having a bet on a horse, I don't. It could be trained in Timbuktu if I think that's got the best form at the price. That's what I want to be on. So yeah. But I mean, it has got wider interest because of what happened last year. There's no doubt about it. And very few people would have thought it was going to be 11-10 going into day 4 because I think the handicap on winners was 8.5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's already collected anybody who backed the Brits. with a day to go. So, but yes, there are. Every race is competitive. There are strong chances from Britain and Ireland in all of them, and Hillcrest, I think, has the best form.
Even though Ginto has won a Grade 1?
Yeah, he wowed everyone. He wowed everyone on the time figures, etc. at Haydock. And he really did just gallop and gallop and gallop. My issue with him is that did he leave the race behind?
Yes.
Henry Daly was trying to talk himself out of running, and then I think when Manila Crooner came out, he must have been thinking, well, I've got to go now. It's fairly close to the festival, that one. It was heavy ground, and he put up a massive performance, and I just wonder if that's taken the edge off him. So I'd be looking elsewhere, and if you might have 2 11-4 joint favourites in this, but you look at the list of winners of this race, the race tends to be full of backward, future, staying chase types, and the best horses tend to finish in midfield, unless you've got an absolute superstar in there. There've been a few winners that were really lightly raced. And turned out Manila Weapons Amnesty, Bob's Worth, etc. And Manila was 50 to 1. So I always have a small bet on an outsider in this, and I came down to another skeleton horse. I'm hoping he's going to have a good day because I fancy a few. Ballygriffin Cottage, big price. He's a 3-time point winner, so got a bit of experience, battle-hardened 7-year-old, and it just interested me that he started him first time out in a Grade 2 at Cheltenham against Blazing Carl, who would definitely have been one of the favourites of this, because Charles Burns was telling everybody that he was just going to win this race. It was a good thing, and unfortunately he went wrong. And he only got beat just over 6 lengths. Came out and won a race at Lingford. It wasn't a great race. And I thought to myself I was disappointed. When I looked at it again, I just think the horse wasn't doing a tap. And suddenly he came alongside with about 50, 60 yards to go, and Skelton immediately stopped riding, and he was still going away at the death. You know what I mean? So I think he's got a bit in his locker. Don't know where he fits in because he needs to improve, but he's going to stay forever, and I give him a chance at a big price.
Yeah, a big price, and typically the big price is the one price that I cannot say. It is 33 to 1. 33 to 1.
Oh, nicely.
From Keels, a 33 to 1 shot from Keels. That won't go off 33 to 1 now.
I do.
No, it won't.
I do.
You've tipped it.
Big day.
You plunge markets.
Yeah, people know that I haven't had a winner yet.
Yeah, but still, it's got a turn. Kate, wide open affair outside of the front two. Are you sticking with the front two in the market?
I am. To be honest, I don't really have a strong opinion in this race. I was really keen on Manila Crooner prior to him coming out because because of all of the reasons that Keels was just saying about. I just want a battle-hardened, gritty, really just sort of a tough little type, and that's what he is.
Yeah, you're rubbing away now.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't worry, I'm hurting myself in the process.
He's not here though. I've just got over it this morning.
The masochism that I'm currently portraying right now is evident. No, I thought he was solid for this race.
All right, Kate, move on, okay? We know Manila Crooner's not running.
He would have bolted up in this race. Yes, so
I think there should be a Paddy Power Justice payout.
Exactly, Justice payouts on that. So for that reason, I used him to take on Hillcrest. Now Hillcrest is running, I sort of think he's the best horse in the race ability-wise. And I know that ability doesn't always come to the fore in this race because it's a compensation then for experience. But on that basis, I'm going to side with Hillcrest here. I really am. I love this horse. My concern is how big he is. And I know that Monkfish won this race as a big horse, but he was a big and slight horse rather than Hillcrest is this big bull of a horse. And if he gets on the back foot at all, he may just get swamped by a few others. But I think he's the best horse in this race. Yeah. So hopefully cast to the fore.
God help you, but it feels like you've got into my mind.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. That's scary.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, get out quick. I was a Manila Crooner fan, but I was really scared of Hillcrest. And because Manila Crooner's not running, I'm a Hillcrest fan as well. Are you a Hillcrest fan, Jerry?
Yeah, I have been for a while, ever since it was actually one of Nicky's horses beat him in a bumper on debut on Doncaster. And like Nicky's horse was probably 16-2, and he made Hillcrest look like an absolute monster. He's an incredible size horse. Like, I think this could be a future Gold Cup horse, you know. And like, no disrespect to Henry Daly, he's a brilliant trainer, but if this was trained by someone else, this would be favourite.
Absolutely.
I know he's joint favourite, but he would be 7-4 favourite, 100%. That's a guarantee. And I'd be very good friends with David Minton. Obviously, he looks after Trevor Hemmings' horse. And they were obviously debating, back to what Kealy said, whether it was a bit close to the last run of Haydock or not, but he's in great form. He came out of the race very well, and they had, like, especially when the horse came out the other day, they were very tempted, and I just think he should be clear price favourite, and I think he's going to take all the beating. I just do think Archie Watson's horse, Staghorn, who won a Grade 2 at Warwick the last day, I just think at a bit of a price, I think he's an interesting horse.
Henry Daly, the one thing he did say after Haydock was that he didn't have a hard race. It might have looked visually like he had a very hard race, but he thought he came out very fresh and well, which is obviously that's good for us. Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think like Kate said, he's the best horse in the race, and he should be favourite.
Yeah, okay. So it is 3 votes for Hillcrest and 1 for Ballygriffin Cottage at 33-1 for Keels. That was your Albert Bartlett preview. It's time to preview the big one. It is the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup, and what a race we have in store. It is the 3:30 at Cheltenham, and Aplutar is currently heading your market at 5-2. 5-2 Aplutar. He's obviously been plunged this morning. It is 130 Galvin, and it is 5-1 Manila Indo. Keels, Aplutar has been favoured all winter. They were threatening to flip-flop, and now he's back favoured. Is he the right favourite?
Best piece of form is his Betfair Chase win. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The worry is how flattered he is over it, because the ground, unusually for there, was very fast and too fast for most of his rivals, and he looked very, very good, flat track, etc. Now he's going to have a bit of dig in the ground. Is anything going to finish a bit stronger up the hill for him? And the other thing, a 5-2 favourite for a Gold Cup's only won 5 of his 13 chases. I know he's very consistent, but he finds ways of getting beat. And he got beat by Galvin at Leopardstown last time, and that was in a race that did not test stamina, and yet Galvin still got to him. So, I mean, it just worries me. Well, aren't there going to be stronger horses up the hill? I wouldn't say for certain that he goes off favourite.
Okay, so you've given this race plenty of thought. I've done plenty of previews with you, and you are utterly convinced about the outcome.
Yes, yeah. I have been for a while. It's funny. I just love Protectorate. I'm going down to the pub in Morgan Ganley's today, and I got absolutely rinsed when I said this last Thursday. They all told me he's a handicapper. No better.
Well, make your case now. You've got a live audience in front of you. Explain to people why Protectorate is going to win the Gold Cup.
Right. Okay. The vast majority of horses that win a Gold Cup win it at their first attempt, which counts against your likes of Plutard and the previous winners. So you're looking at them. You've got Galvin, you've got Protectorate, you've got Tornado Flyer. You're most likely. Now Galvin is the one I fear, but he's a much shorter price. He's a third of the price. Protectorate, 2 runs this season, second in the Paddy Power, which was a really good race. Off a big weight, he made a monster error at the 5th or 6th fence. Without that, he'd have won. Long One got beaten that race the year he won the Gold Cup. Now he's only won once since. He went to the Many Clouds, and I was standing in the inside on Tingle Creek Day at Sandown, and I just kept laying him because I thought there's no way a horse can travel this strongly, this keenly on bottomless ground at Aintree, because it can get quite sticky there, and it's a harder track to get home at than you think. And he just did. He just cruised and cruised and cruised. Now you can pick holes in that because Native River's been retired, but the distant third finished second to Royal Pagay in a handicap next time. And Royal Pagay is what is he now? He's quite short, isn't he? 14-1 for the Gold Cup. He's a 7-year-old. He's got Grade 1 winning form over 2.5 mile. Now I love Grade 1 form over 2.5 mile. Everyone says you need to be an out-and-out stayer, but again, Cheltenham's one of those sharp courses that you need to be handy. It might be stiff at the end, but you've got your Sizing Johns, you've got War of Attrition, Kicking King, Corto Star, there's an Orchid. You think of all those horses that had really good form at shorter. The vast majority of horses who win a Gold Cup had some form at least at 2.5 mile or shorter. And he's got some really good form there. And he's just been laid out for the race. He goes really well fresh, and he wins.
Job well done, Keels. Have we got water? Have we got water for him?
Easy game.
Well done. And he's drifting. He's out to 10-1 now.
10-1 is
with Paddy Power. You have to win
10-1
again,
is
Keels.
massive. Extra places as well.
Yes. And you stole my line. It's like you know the running order. We've got an offer from Paddy's.
We're paying 4 places instead of 3 in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, the ultimate battle for bragging rights at the Cheltenham Festival. Will Ireland make it 4 in a row? Or will Britain add another to the tally? Paddy Power!
In the event of non-runners, place terms may vary. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
4 places instead of 3, Keels.
Well,
10-1 Protectorate.
Cannot possibly finish out of the first 4.
Has he convinced you to?
He has. Well, no, not quite. That was so bullish, though. Exactly. No, I was taking in every part of that. Then mesmerised, exactly. But unfortunately, I can't abandon my Manila Indo.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this Gold Cup, I have been toying. I've been around the houses with this. A Plutard, I'm still not convinced about the trip. Then for him, for all that, we are lacking pace in this race. If we're relying on Santini to make the pace, God help us all. I have a funny feeling, though, Styrian Falange may change up tactics.
Oh,
I have a funny feeling he
Take
is
out half
going
the field, won't he?
yeah, it's going to go from the front, run down to his right and wipe them all over and strike at fence 2. No, I have a funny feeling that a few of these may see the lack of pace and take up the mantle, therefore. So it sort of leaves me in that middle ground. And as Kealy said, Galvin actually showed a lot more pace last time out than I really gave him credit for, because I thought, well, is he going to have the pace to aim at here? And I thought Manila Indo might just reach that middle ground. But Manila Indo, I could not have going into the Gold Cup last year. It was the apple of my eye at the start of the season, and then his jumping just went to pot. He lost all confidence, couldn't have him. He came back then in the Gold Cup because, as Henry de Bromhead says, he grows a 5th leg apparently at Cheltenham. So, and that was proven then in the race last year. This year, he always needs his reappearance starts. He went hammer and tongs in the King George. It just didn't suit him whatsoever. And I just thought he was outdone by a brilliant ride by Davy Russell and Conflated last time out. So I think he's come back to form.
Okay, everybody is pointing to this run at Leopardstown last time in the Irish Gold Cup. He was hammered by Conflated, who would have been hammered in the Ryanair chase. Are you not a little bit worried that we're overemphasising that piece of form?
Not really. Not in the context of this year's Gold Cup, I don't think. Okay. I think because of how wide open it is. And just sort of, he was just so caught. You could see it almost happening. He was caught in the pocket. He was caught then on the back foot when Davy just kicked. And yes, that form does need a pinch of salt, where I don't think it necessarily stacks up to general Gold Cup form, but this year I think it does, and especially back at Cheltenham for Manila.
So you're staying loyal. Back-to-back wins in the race for Manila.
Back-to-back wins, yes.
Well, it's certainly it's not beyond the realms of possibility anyway. He's only a 5-1 shot with Paddy Power, and Henry de Bromhead reports him to be in sparkling form once again. Every time he gets over here, he just loves the place. Jerry, the Gold Cup wide open. How confident are you that you found the winner?
Well, I suppose I'm going to go with... I just think Rachel Blackmore, I think there's a lot of unfinished business she has. Obviously, last year, she must have been gutted. She was on the wrong one. And to be fair to her this year, like, she's committed to a Plutard a long way out, you know what I mean? I think the owners of Manila Indo were fairly keen to whoever was going to ride in the Gold Cup to ride him throughout the season, and she stuck loyal with a Plutard. And I think I do agree with Kealy about horses coming back that finished second or run it already and coming back to win it the next year. It's hard to do, but I think he's a class horse. I know, like, I did a few previews in Ireland last week and stuff, and they kept saying
Ireland,
you're
taking my business. You're based here. What are you doing coming over to Ireland?
It was actually John Allen's hotel as well, which was very good.
A big one.
But they all question whether he properly stays at Plutard. But I can see their point of view. But I do think today, I think he's going to win the Gold Cup.
You're Rachel Blackmore. What do you do today?
Well, back to the pace thing, like, I do think I whatever, is going to go forward as well. I know he's out of his depth, but I do think he'll take him along, probably with Santini for a bit. I'd love to see Chantry House popped out. I would love to see that horse at home.
Didn't look like fast enough to do so last time.
Yeah, I know. But
what happened to him? What happened to him? He, in the early stages of last year's JLT Turner, whatever it is now, he was keen, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Where's all that speed gone?
Third in the Supreme.
Yeah.
Where's all that speed?
I know, it's great. Like you said, at home he'd school gallop quicker than a lot of horses, and then on the track he just makes it look hard work. So that's why I'd love to see him popped out today, just something different, just to try spark him up a small bit.
And how is he working?
Yeah, work's been very good, but his work has always been good. That's the thing. And then he just goes to the track and he just looks as if he's half asleep. He's a very hard horse to work out. But I would love to see him popped out today, just do something different with him. But yeah, I think it is going to be an interesting race tactically. Like I said, if the horses do pop out, whether they go quick enough for the rest of them. But it is, I think tactically, it's going to be a fascinating race.
But you're an A Plutard fan?
Definitely.
And I'm an A Plutard fan. A Plutard for me, I think Rachel Blackmore is going to do it. 5-2 favourite currently with Paddy Power. Myself and Jerry are in the same camp. It's Manila Indo for Kate Tracey, and it is Protectorate. Paul Kealy is all in. He's all in on Protectorate in the Gold Cup at 10-1. That's the Gold Cup. Only 3 races left out of the 28, and the next one up is the St James's Place Hunter's Chase. And Billaway, he's back for more. He was favourite 2 years ago when he was second. He was favourite last year and he was second, and he's favourite again this year. Will he finish second? He's 15-8 currently with Paddy Power. Wing leader is second in the market at 11-2, and it is 13-2 Bob and Co. Keels, you're a big fan of Hunter's Chase's favourite race of the week. You looking forward to it?
Listen, you thought I was confident about Protectorate. I haven't got a clue.
You're not a
I don't know. I mean, he asked me, said, give me a selection. I said, well, Billaway, he went close last year, didn't he? That was it. I mean, I would love to see Bob and Co win for David Maxwell, because I think David Maxwell is great.
Yes.
He's great for the game. He gets loads of stick off punters when he doesn't quite get it right. But, you know, there is horses. He goes out to ride them and have fun. And it'd be a great story if he did.
And you know what? I think it's going to be a great story. I think Bob and Co can do it, Kate. Can he do it?
I do. Crowning moment of the week this is going to be, with David Maxwell giving it large back in the winner's enclosure. Oh, the scenes would be amazing. I think he'll do it as well, just even on the horse basis. I know he unseated in this race last year, but that was under Sean Bowen. Here's David Maxwell back on board this time around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like for like.
Exactly, yeah. And he ticks so many boxes again coming into this race. Coming in to the Hunter's Chase on the back of one start has been seen to a positive effect time and time again. We saw it with Hazel Hill. We saw it with Pasha de Polder in both of his wins. We saw it with...
Last night doing your research.
I'm trying, yeah, hence why the voice. Yeah, it was all the research. On the Fringe did it. And last year's winner, Porlock Bay, on the back of one start as well. And I know he had that sole start then this season. It just looked a prep run as much as anything else. Heavy ground. He'll come forwards for that. We know Paul Nicholls is a master of getting a horse ready for this race. So I think Bob and Co, now that David Maxwell's really got a handle on him, because he was a lunatic early up the horse, and now that I just think he's been laid out for this perfectly.
Well, at least Paul Nicholls is finally going to have a runner at the Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah.
So is this going to be the one? Maybe this is going to be his winner. Like I would say he's had this race in mind. I know he's skipping Cheltenham with a lot of his top horses, but I'd say he's had this race in mind for this horse all season.
Yeah, he was always going to go for it.
He is fantastic at getting them right for the big
He is,
days.
yeah. He was always going to go for it, and he was going well when he came down last year. Like, you know, you'd have to think that he was going to be somewhere around. That's as much as I know.
I'll come back to you for another view in a minute, Keels. Jerry, is it 3 votes for Bob and Co?
Yeah, definitely, and I agree. He was cantering last year when I don't even think he fell. I think he only unseated, didn't he? Like coming down the hill, but he was absolutely cantering. I think this year, I think David Maxwell, Paul Nicholls, they're going to have a big day, hopefully.
Oh, could you imagine? It's one of the things I want to do in life. I want to have a pint with David Maxwell.
Yeah,
They'd be great crack. Do you know him, Jerry?
No, I'd only known from the Wangham and stuff before.
I interviewed him after he won at Punchestown last year when he beat Billaway.
Yeah.
And he just magic. Like I'd say he's good company, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it'd be brilliant. It'd be very good.
Very best of luck to David Maxwell on Bob and Co. in the St James's Place Hunter's Chase. It is the third last race of the Cheltenham Festival, and it's at 4:10. Deep breaths, we're nearly there, folks. Just 2 more to go. 2 more to go. It is the 4:50 on Friday, and it is the Mrs. Paddy Power Mayor's Chase, and it sees last year's runner-up, Ellie May. She's currently your 15-8 joint favourite with Mount Ida, and Concertista, the Mayor's Hurdle winner from a few years ago, is 9-2, and it is 12-1 bar. Is Ellie May going to do it? So close last year, Keels, with Colreevy just pipped.
Close last year. I mean, with the extra emphasis on stamina, given the rain we've had, I think Mount Ida might outstay her. Obviously, she won the Kimmy last year, and didn't she beat May earlier in the season as well?
Yes, a fair house.
You know, so and that was over this sort of trip. So I would favour her. I don't quite get with a joint favourite. So I would make her favourite. I have had a little bit each way on Vienna Court. She's got a fair amount of find. I would admit that. But she won a really good handicap at the track, and that was her second win on the spin at the track, because she won a mayor's race there as well. So she really does like the course. I like Cheltenham horses. Obviously, the other two have also run well at Cheltenham, but I think she'll probably get in the frame.
Okay, Vienna Court.
And I worry about Concertista's jumping. That's the other thing. I just don't think she's as fluent.
She gets a bit low, doesn't she?
Yeah, she can get a bit low. Yeah. It's not what you want to do around Cheltenham, really.
No, definitely don't want to get low. 12-1 Vienna Court with Paddy Power for the Mrs. Paddy Power Chase for Paul Kealy. Jerry, Ellie May is one of these horses that I'd say the camp felt last year was one that got away. I know Colreevy went on to beat Monkfish and Envoy Lane at Punchestown, but it was just one where the whole race you thought Ellie May was going to win, and then she just didn't. And they've unfinished business here.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, she's a grey mare, but she's nearly white, so like she catches your eye in a race in the parade ring. And like I said, she's got a massive following. And like JP McManus, he's had a quiet enough week so far, just the one winner, I think. So yeah, I think he's a good chance here of having two. But I'm a Countertista fan. Yeah, I've been a big fan of this mare from day one, and her form on record, or her form on Cheltenham, is brilliant. I agree. She's probably not the most natural over a fence, but she still won her last 2 chases. You know, she's a very good mare, and I think she could be adding another one to that today.
Are you in agreement, Kate?
No, I am with Ellie May as well here. She's had sort of a topsy-turvy season so far, really. And they did really fancy her for the race last year. And of course, she came up against Coolreevy, who was just a wonderful mare. But this season with Ellie May, I mean, you have to forgive her for that first start where the race that was run at Aintree was meant to be run at Carlisle, and then it was snowed off. So she had 3 ferry journeys backwards and forwards before going to Aintree. She never went a yard. And she's for all that she's quite a slight horse, she's a really stuffy horse as well. So she just gets better throughout the season. That's why you see her to better effect than in the spring as well. And then when she was overturned by Mount Ida, she just didn't jump as well as we know she does. That had obviously a bit of an extra trip than then she's facing today. Mount Ida, I find her in a bit of a no man's land where they were talking about her for the Gold Cup. I don't think she's quite up to that really, but I don't think she necessarily is going to have the stamina test in this race to see her to best effect. I think Ellie May is quicker than her. Ellie May was obviously much better than last time out at Naas. She jumped an awful lot better, and it just showed her progression through the season, getting her back here. So she's proven in this race, I know just going down by the narrow margin last year, so hopefully she can go one better this year.
That was almost a perfect script. You just forgot one thing, cheek pieces. Cheek pieces, I thought last time at Naas was the making of.
Yeah.
I think it really zoned in. She really concentrated. Yeah. She was straight as a die over her fences. And I'm with
Very
you,
true.
Kate. We're going in together today. It is definitely for me, Ellie May. I think a repeat of that run last year is going to be good enough for Ellie May, for JP McManus, for Willie Mullins, and for Mark Walsh. That was the Mrs. Paddy Power Chase. And we've reached the climax, Keels. We're into the finale. It is the 5:30. It is the Martin Pipe handicap hurdle for conditional riders, and Langer Dan, last year's runner-up, who bumped into Galloping the Champs, is 11-2, 13-2 Hollow Games, and Adamantly Chosen, and it is 8-1 bar. Now, this is by far and away my strongest fancy of the day, Keels.
Well, why don't you go first?
Will I go first?
Why don't you go first?
Right,
Come on,
okay.
tell them.
Well, you know what we should have done? We should have swapped seats one of the days just to see how we get on. I'll be the pundit and you can be the presenter. Okay, right. I'm gonna. It's a kind of a mathematical equation. Okay. The best horse in the race, in my opinion, for starters. The best jockey in the race, Jordan Gainford. Okay. The best form in the race, running in Grade 1s. The fact that it's on the new course, and I don't think Hollow Games is the slickest or quickest jumper, but he's fine. He's safe enough. And I think the 2 hurdles in the final 6 furlongs is definitely going to play to his strengths. They're going to go a fast pace, which I'm pretty convinced of here. They're going to go fast. That's going to suit him because I think they were very, very tempted until Ginto moved to the Ballymore or to the Albert Bartlett. They were very tempted to run Hollow Games in the Albert Bartlett. Ginto was a better horse, I'd say, but Hollow Games might not be as far behind them as people think. And when you put all them together, you kind of say to yourself, hold on here a second, this is glaringly obvious. Best horse in the race, best jockey, best fit. I think 13-2 is a massive price, and I would be devastated if Hollow Games is beaten. I know, I will be. I really will. I know I said that about Manila Crooner and the Albert Bartlett a few previous nights, but Hollow Games, Noel Moran might have had his winner by now with Ginto in the Albert Bartlett earlier on in the day. But if he hasn't, he's going to go out with the lucky last. I think Hollow Games is going to win. Please tell me you agree, Kills.
No. I have, however, backed another Gordon Elliott trained horse, and I did, I did give the nod to the fact that Jordan Gainford rides Hollow Games, but just looking to it, but Gordon Elliott's 2 winners of this race both ran in the Michael Purcell Memorial hurdle at Turles.
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 Pronounce it T-U-R-L-I-S.
Turles. Right. Okay.
We don't do our THs. Just forget about that.
They ran at Turles. Right. Okay.
Turles, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Try it again.
And they were at Turles.
Very good.
All right. I should know this. My old man's Irish, shouldn't he? Anyway, one of them finished third in it. One of them won it, and the Goffer won it last time out. And I love the way he finished his race out there. He's going to really, really like a stamina test at this trip. You really got to stay, haven't you? To
yeah, that's why
you just look at the roll call of winners, They all end up being, 3-milers, and with the possible exception of Galloping de Champs, who may be going down to 2. But he did win a 3-mile Grade 1 afterwards last season. So I think he's got the right profile for the race. Obviously, it's a very hard race. I backed Bambridge as well of Joseph O'Brien's because I thought, he looks like he's been prepped for it. A few runs in the spring and summer. Had a break, 2 runs since. Win last time out over a trip too short. Looks like a nice profile. I will say Langer Dan is becoming, that's the one of the Dan Skeltons that I wanted to take on because I thought he was a bit short, and he seems to be on the drift a bit now. And he's only £2 higher than when chasing home Galloping de Champs last year. My only thought was, it's about an even money shot that there's a Grade 1 horse from Ireland in here. You may have found him, like, a proper Grade 1 horse. And if there is, then he'll probably get beat by it again. But he's going to be in the frame, Langer Dan, isn't he?
So your 2 are? My
2 are the Goffer was the number 1 and Bambridge.
So 11-1 for the Goffer, and Bambridge is 12-1. Right, Keels has got 2 stabs at it and he hasn't found a winner. Kate Tracey, what wins the Martin Pike?
I only need 1 because I agree with you. Hollow Games. Hollow Games for the resilient horse. First time tongue tie, fair mark. Freshen up since that last run. Positive to have run in a Grade 1 on your latest start. I know he finished 3rd in the bonus, the 50 grand bonus race, but I still thought he ran a solid race. Stayer in the making then, progressive, everything, yeah.
Just wins, doesn't it?
Just wins,
Just
surely.
wins, as I tweeted about Bob Ollinger yesterday. It just wins. And of course, we all know what happened there. Jerry, have we 3 votes for Hollow Games?
There's no point me even putting my case across. He wins, isn't he?
Do you fancy him as well?
I do you've convinced me.
Okay.
Convinced me.
Who made the better case?
Oh, to be fair, you were just you were tunnel vision today. You were going for it. I just think at a price, I'm going to make a case for Cobbler's Dream. Ben Case, Lady Jane Grosvenor. They won the Johnny Henderson a few years ago with Croco Bay. I think this horse, he's still very progressive. He was bought out of Ireland. He won the Lanzarote at Kempton the last day. I know Kempton and Cheltenham, very different tracks. But I still think he's progressing. Not saying he's going to be a Grade 1 horse down the line, but which you might need to be in this race the last few years. But I think he's a good, solid horse. Jack Andrews, very good jockey booking, and I just think at kind of good double-figure prices, I think he's got a great each way shout to be in the first 5 or 6 anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a horse in here that I was all over a few years ago for the Pertemps final and got injured after winning a white called Silver Sheen. Now he's done absolutely nothing since.
Yeah.
But she's still sending him over. So he's 66-1. So I am going to have a couple of quid just for the fact that, I actually thought he was potentially a very good horse at one point. But he hasn't done anything since. You can't really make a case for him.
First time.
But I will be sticking a couple of quid on.
66-1, Silver Sheen for Paul Kealy. But your first choice, as you see on the screen here, is the Goffer at 11-1. It's Hollow Games for myself and Kate. And Cobbler's Dream for Jerry McGrath. That was all 28 races of the 2022 Cheltenham Festival covered. Now, it's nap time, folks. Paul Kealy.
Protectorate wins.
Oh, jeez. I was going to ask you a question there, okay. Protectorate 10-1, great value.
10-1, I think it's fantastic value, especially with 4 places.
And as you can see on the screen, for viewers who've been with us all week, we have a new picture of Kate Tracey, and you changed your hair colour. Yes, you're with Ellie May.
Yes, I am, yeah, going Ellie May, then hopefully she can go one better than last year in the Mayor's Chase.
Okay, and Jerry?
A Plutard in the Gold Cup.
A Plutard, you're taking on Keels in the big one. And I am saving the best. Jeez, I need a new byline picture, don't I? That is dreadful altogether, isn't it, Kate?
Why?
It
look very smart.
Of me.
Why? You look
My
very
God.
smart.
No, desperate. People tweet me saying I look like Quagmire.
Well, you look pretty identical today, to be fair.
Do I look like that? Do I look like that in real life?
Yeah. Can't help it.
I definitely don't look like that in real life, so it's all fine.
Diet starts on Saturday. Jesus. Okay, we need a charity bet, okay? Yesterday, obviously, we had Mr. Coffee. The day before, McFabulous was a non-runner. We kicked off with Constitution Hill, who we got at 5-1, thanks to Paddy in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. So it's been a good week for the charity. So what are we going to go with? We have to agree on something. What do you think?
Oh no, don't go to me first for this.
What do you think? Go on, yeah. Your team.
What did we all agree with? Well, we agreed with Hollow Games, but have we all agreed on anything today?
We had a discussion before the show, Kate, but you've forgotten.
I've completely forgotten.
And our graphics man has been frantically putting up Bob and Co.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course it is.
Stick
of course.
to the script, Kate. Stick
of course
to the
it was.
script. Always.
Well, it's been a long week. It's been a long week. Yep, David Maxwell, Bob and Co. We all agree there.
No, we're not. You know that. You know what? We're going to scrap that, right? I'm the boss here, right? We're going to scrap it. I know it's Bob and Co on the screen. We're changing our mind. It's hollow games, all right? I'm putting my foot down. I'm putting my foot down, right?
Fair enough.
Putting my foot down. We're going for hollow
I
games.
hope you're going to be digging it out of your pocket.
Yeah,
But Bob
if
and Co wins
he
and all
gets
that
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he gets beat, you have to put the 100 quid in.
If I got this wrong and Bob and Co wins, I will make a sizable donation to the charity if Bob and Co wins. But I am... dude, oh, really? Okay, I've just got it in my ear.
What?
We're allowed both charity bets, okay?
Are we?
Because we had an on-runner at McFabulous.
Oh, there you go.
Right, okay. Phew.
That's got you out of a hole, isn't it?
Where
Yeah.
am I going to get 750 quid from? So we've two charity bets. Hollow games in the Martin Pipe, the 5:30 today. 13-2 currently with Paddy Power, and Bob and Co also 13-2. So we've got two charity bets, and our graphics man, what a blinder. He's playing, he's got it up on the screen already. There you go. So you've got, and you know what we're going to do, just in case, we're going to do a 50 quid double as well on the two of them. So
Ooh.
there you go. Bob and Co, hollow games, and we've got a double as well. It's for
There'll be a
charity.
steward's inquiry after that,
It's
won't there?
it's for a fantastic cause. I'll give Paddy a ring after the show, don't worry. Okay, so it's been a fantastic week, Keels. Your highlight. Now, we didn't talk about this beforehand. I'm springing this on you, but I want your highlight of the week.
Day one, race one. I don't think there's any other highlight. I mean, there's been some great races, but we saw something sensational there. You know, we saw a horse that, you know, looks an absolute superstar after 3 runs over hurdles to run to the level he did. You know, I think Racing Post ratings gave him 172. That's amazing. That's better than a lot of champion hurdle winners. And to do that 3, you know, on your third start as a 5-year-old, sensational.
Sensational. Jerry, you know this horse better than anybody. We spoke about him on Wednesday. Like, there must be some buzz around Seven Barrows at the minute to have a horse like this. Like, and it's amazing to think, you know, obviously Shishkin disappointed, but to have Shishkin, Sprinter Sacra, Altior, to have these horses come along. Now, I know we're getting carried away, and I'm a devil for this. I always get carried away with these horses early on. But it does look like Nicky has found another one.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'd be very rarely a person to kind of be planning too far ahead and getting carried away. But when Michael Buckley came out last Sunday and said, like, you know, if he wins or when he wins on Tuesday, let's go take on Honeysuckle at Punchestown. Usually I'd be like, oh my God, lads, just steady down, hop on a bit. But he's
dead right.
Yeah, he's dead right, and he's definitely entitled to have a crack at it if they do decide to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very special.
He is. Was he your highlight of the week?
Yeah, definitely. And just from a personal point of view, I think Love Envoy winning the mayor's race yesterday for
Because you
Dave.
backed her.
Well, I actually bought her.
Oh, you bought her?
Yeah, I bought her.
Oh, I didn't know this.
So from a personal point of view, I was delighted with that. And obviously for the lads, Noel Feely, David Cross, they're a brilliant bunch. And just great for syndicates. I think it's very important, especially in this, you know, in flat racing, jump racing going forward. Syndicates are definitely going to play a bigger part.
Wow, he can ride, he can talk, he can buy. Is there anything that Jerry McGrath can't do? Love Envoy. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't back her though, that was the problem.
It's the accolades is more important.
Exactly.
Kate, your highlight of the week?
I have to weigh in with Constitution Hill as well, just to get that moment, first race, first up, to see an absolute freak of a performance is what the festival needed then to kick us off. Honeysuckle, though, of course.
I was just about to say, we got to give Honey a
Have
mention.
to give Honeysuckle. Is she finally getting the credit she deserves? She just wins every single time. For Rachel Blackmore then, to have the crowds back after they missed sort of getting the applause into the winners' enclosure last year, getting it this time around. Honeysuckle was just fantastic to see her gaining back-to-back champion hurdles.
Absolutely. She was magic, as was Constitution Hill, and as was the first 3 days of the Cheltenham Festival. It's day 4, it's Gold Cup day. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us here all week. We've had a ball, haven't we, Keels?
Yeah, it's been great fun. Enjoyed staying at the house, enjoyed going to the racing, enjoyed watching the racing. Didn't enjoy the financial aspect so much.
Or the early starts.
Hasn't been a disaster. I haven't.
Or very early, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 That 6:30, the alarm going is not easy.
Oh yes. Well, you need an alarm, do you? I get up at 3.
Every single morning I've got up to have our special K in the kitchen. Keels has been up before me, the ultimate pro studying the phone.
Yeah, get up and wash all the dishes as well.
Jerry, thanks for coming in all week, and Kate to you as well. Hopefully you're lucky today, and we'll have a fantastic Gold Cup day.
Yes.
So that's it, folks. That is it for Good Morning Cheltenham, with thanks to the Racing Post and Paddy Power. We've been with you all week. We hope you've enjoyed it. Be lucky on Gold Cup day.